Okay, it's true, Chair, that those are the responsibilities of Director HR.
So, did you see this report before you came to the Senate?
Yes, I did, sir.
What, are there any explanations to justify these irregularities?
Okay, Chair, I saw the report and I think my response as the Director HR is what I've indicated there. It's true that some of those allowances were actually not supposed to have been paid in the first place. And that's why we've taken corrective measures.
They were paid under your watch?
Okay, let me put it this way, that they were paid under the Director HR. At that time, I was not in the office. There was someone else.
When did you assume office?
I think I'm 2 to 3 months old in the office.
Because, members, if we are going to go through these things, these irregularities, issue by issue, one by one, we'll be here up to 6 o'clock. We must just decide who carries the cross.
Yeah, maybe the governor can confirm. Who was the person in office at the material time? Is he still with the county?
No, he retired. But out of curiosity, if he has retired, why didn't we go with some of the people? I can see you have 27 employees who consume 3.0 million, and they had achieved an age of 60 years, but was still appearing in the June 2025 payroll. Why didn't you send him? It is in audit query number 9, page 10. There were 27 employees who had attained the age of 60 and had not retired. It was still appearing in the payroll. Maybe Director of HR. What was the issue here? You had paid 3.0 million to 27 employees who are over 60. But the director retired. What was the issue here? Through the chair. That is page 10, audit number 9 of the OAG report.
Retention of staff?
No, retention of staff beyond mandatory retirement age.
Chair, all these conversations around the professionals in BOMET could be pointed to a problem with the hiring process. That it is clear that competence is not what informs how people end up in these offices. Because how is it possible that going through all these professionals, from the accountants to the HR professionals, they are making very basic professional mistakes? Who are these people, Governor? Where do you find them?
Chair, some of these people, the 27 that has been mentioned, include my Deputy Governor, include public service board members that had fixed contract. You could not terminate before the expiry of the 6 years. I have also my advisors, around 3-4 of them, who have also brought them when they were still, they were under 60.
What do those people do? What sort of advice do they render? Is it what is the dominant community in BOMET? Are they advising you on the local culture? What? I mean, why do you need Wazes to advise you?
A professor. And he's a professor.
Chair, I don't think we can describe Wazes to be useless. They are
nobody has said that. We just want you to tell us what advice do those Wazes render?
It depends on their area, because we have legal advisor, economic advisor, and so forth. So there's line there.
Allow me.
Maybe, sorry, Bambua, can I come before you?
You go, yes.
Governor, I thought you are around 3 advisors as per the law, which are above 60, the board. But the number is too huge, is 27. Yes, Chair, I agree. Because when the payrolls were pulled out, there were around 11 or 14 ECD teachers that were not active. They are not earning any salary, but they were captured like they are earning salary.
out of the 27. I think we have around 14 of them.
So, how many remain? That is 16.
Yeah, and then
So
I have public
16,
service board members. I have my advisors, three of them.
And the deputy
I
governor?
have the deputy governor.
Okay.
Yes.
So you want to confirm to us that these 3 advisors are not advising you on the local culture. They're advising you on economy, on...
These are my advisors as advised by the SRC.
Okay. You know, we had a governor from Turkana who had advice to advise him on Turkana culture, yet he's a Turkana. So that clarity should come out very clear. I yield back, Chair.
Maybe they're advising him on how to be the kingpin.
But Professor Barachoka has never expressed he wants to be a kingpin. At least I know that for a fact.
Can you confirm that?
Maybe tomorrow, Chair, but...
Chair, just some clarification. This total amount that we are speaking about, because you said there's 5 pages of HR issues, I think we should not lose track of the figures that are involved. Correct. I don't know what the total comes to OAG, because I can see 48 million on irregular payment of salaries and personal allowances, 14 million on special house allowance, 2.4 million on irregular payment of extraneous allowance, special salaries, 2.8 million. What is the total? Another 1.18 million on non-practicing allowance, uniform allowance, 4.2 million, responsibility allowance, 1.3 million. What is the total amount you are querying?
The total is that one in the first paragraph. That is 48 million, 181 million, 528 shillings.
That includes all these other ones that you have spoken to?
Yes,
Okay.
it covers all that.
Chair,
Chair.
Sorry.
Now, Governor, I don't know, Chair, you are talking about 5 pages. You know, I have 11. I don't know, maybe I'll look at the different documents.
11 on HR.
Yes, and I'm wondering, then if you're going to even have a conversation, Governor, on HR issues, what conversation would that be? Would it be a conversation on what has gone wrong or whether there is anything that has gone right? Because surely from these documents here, everything in HR has gone wrong. Anything that could go wrong has gone wrong. From payment of salaries to payment of allowances, to house allowances, to
Promotions.
recruitment, promotions, to non-practicing allowance, special salaries again, overpayment of basic salary, payment of responsibility allowance. I mean, everything, including recruitment of staff, everything has gone wrong in HR. And Governor, I have just consulted Senator Sifuna to be sure that you're actually serving your 2nd term. So unlike your HR director who can hide under the phrase, "It wasn't me," the buck stops at your door. How could you preside over a county in such a mess? I mean, you have, what, 1.5 years to live? Even if you were to give it your best, I don't see how you're going to correct all this. It means, Chair, from the look of things, that the HR in BOMET is completely in a mess. That's my submission.
Chair, in addition, Governor, this regular engagement of casual workers that was consuming 119 million and 081,002, maybe you can give us the number and who are these people, and whether now that we are questioning around the human resource issues within your county, is there a transition, Governor, to ensure, that will be my second question, to ensure that they are transited into permanent and pensionable? And if it is the municipality workers, have you given them the autonomy to hire maybe cleaners, people who do cleaning services within your municipalities, either in BOMET, Sotik, and many other urban centers. So these 119 million on casual workers through the chair, who are these people and what are they doing? And then, you know, there should be a career progression. Are you giving them PNP after some time? Or just, and finally, this county public service board that left office, you have seen there is a lot of mess. Were you working together? Because it looks like they decided, this county public service board that left, they decided to create a mess in your human resource. Were you working together? Or they were doing their own thing to ensure they mess your county government? My two questions, Chair.
I think even before you respond, the 119 million on casual workers, this we must query. This one we must deal with. It cannot be sorted through a global, conversation, because the Auditor General says 119 million was incurred on casual wages. Payment to the casuals were made to the heads of departments on a monthly basis, but the payments were not accounted for by the departmental heads. You know, this we must deal with. So Senator Chirage, yes, you brought it up, but I think this we must deal with and look at the evidence that is supplied. The other thing that we must deal with on this HR is on the treatment of ECD teachers. I think under HR, those are the two issues that we can drill down on. Then the rest, we shall just make the stiffest recommendations possible to clear the mess. So, would you want the governor to first respond, or we go to the two specific issues?
So maybe the governor can note so that I don't need to come back.
Okay, Chair, I know I wish he could just point me to just one aspect in HR that's working, just one. I mean, that would lighten my day.
Chair, thank you very much, and I've noted the concerns of the members, but I want to say, Chair, cleaning of payroll is a continuous exercise, and for the record, Chair, where we started was worse than this. So, from my own analysis and where I sit, as much as we are not 100%, there are a lot of improvements. Because, Chair, I will tell you, where there were post workers in my payroll, people who are being paid, and they are not giving services to the people of BOMET. We have had around 3 major cleanups of our payrolls with the assistance of consultants. But still, there are still things that are still outstanding, which to me, from my own assessment, and from where we started, Chair, I think we are almost there. Except for these small things that are still coming up, popping up. Even these special salaries. It is one thing that I thought we had cleared because it came from our interaction with the consultant that we had engaged and with the assistance of the Ministry of Public Service. We cleared quite a number. But still, Chair, as I've said, cleaning of payroll is a continuous. Even in Parliament, I want to believe that is the same story. National government, that is the same story. But we are committed to ensure that we have proper remuneration of our people. Everybody should be given his entitlement in terms of the packages that they are entitled to. And services are also given to our people, because we don't want to have people in our payroll that are drawing salaries and they are not giving services to our people. So, Chair, we are not 100%. But there is something that we have done about the same. There is something that we are doing today about the same. Even this audit is not about fault finding. It's one way of strengthening our systems. So this discovery has strengthened me to ensure that I have control on this HR. Otherwise, what we will be doing here will be not making any sense. No, so the reason why I'm seated before you, Chair, today is because I want to strengthen my HR, how I'm managing the finances and so forth, and be transparent and accountable to the resources that have been given.
Governor, the evidence on the paper is to the contrary. But now that you have cleared ghosts from your payroll, how many employees do you have?
Total numbers here? Public service board, public service.
Chair,
Good morning. My name is Paul Mutai, Chief Officer Public Service. We have 3,700 employees currently.
And casuals,
Those are total.
inclusive of casuals.
Yes, inclusive of cash.
So who are the ones who are on a permanent basis? What's the number that's on permanent basis?
Should be about 3,600 something.
3,000?
We'll have to confirm.
600.
Yes.
In your staff establishment, what is the ideal number of employees that you should have?
We have been working with the help of KTSP on the ideal staff establishment because we realize what was there may not be ideal, and it will tear about 5,000 maximum, 5,600.
5,000. Your wage bill is already at 48%.
That's true.
So if you double the number of employees, everything that comes to BOMET will go to salaries.
Establishment before was over 10,000, so we are in order to bring it down to around 5,000. It doesn't mean we'll fill all those positions.
Okay, let's come back to what's...
Chair, I'd like to make a comment as I go about the issue before you give your recommendations on the variances on the payroll. It is true that what we should take, and probably AOG will agree with me, is that on the 3.5 billion in the financial statements against schedules of 3.515, what we should take, the correct one would be the schedule, the 3.515. So it will look like there's an error in some payments not finding its way to the financial statements or being reclassified in the financial statement to another caption. We would like to look at that. So Governor, it's not alarming because the schedule should be the most correct because it gives you item by item, name by name, who was paid, how much was paid. So if the schedule is summing up to 3.15 and the financial statement is 3.5, clearly the financial statements will not be correct. So we will sit down with the team in Treasury and do a quick
I think you should be sitting on this side, not on that side, because you know what the problem is. Why didn't you advise the team preparing the responses to do the right thing?
Sorry, Chair. Sometimes we learn, and going forward, we will not find those glaring errors.
Yeah, because you have said exactly what we have said, yes. And that is advice that should have been put into practice as you are, bringing your responses to the Senate.
And lastly, Chair, on the several issues you have raised regarding payments, allowances to staff. We had a meeting the other week with His Excellency the Governor, and we have agreed we're going to remove all those allowances, and we were going to recover those that were paid irregularly.
Okay, fine. Now let's deal with specific things. We have been dealing with global issues. Let's see how you are dealing with ECD teachers, and then casuals. Patrick?
Chairman, arising from what that submission by the HR Director, yes,
CEO
yes.
Public Service Board.
Yes. He has said that they are going to recover what has been irregularly paid. But here you realize that from the report of 23-24, we had, the OAG had raised 27 paragraphs which are outstanding. Out of that, your committee gave 30 recommendations. And Chair, the auditors are saying they have circularized those recommendations to the entity, but they don't have a response. So when he says they are going to implement, Chair, maybe your committee can call upon them to respond to the report of 23-24 early enough before we do the report for 24-25.
Governor, can you confirm that you received from the Auditor General that matrix on Senate recommendations?
We did, Chair, and I think we have a status report on the same. Yes.
But the auditor says that you have not acknowledged receipt. I think it's important and formal to do the acknowledgement so that they know that you are working on the recommendations.
We will, Chair, because we have the report.
Fine. So you guys seem to know what should be done, but you're not doing it. That's a problem. You sound very knowledgeable. You have people who understand what should be done, but the evidence on the paper is different. Let's see how you are treating ECD teachers. Auditor General, you had some non-compliance on payment of salaries to ECD teachers.
Thank you, Chair. Non-compliance to salaries and remuneration guidelines for early childhood development and education teachers. Review of records revealed that 1,317 ECD teachers were paid special salaries amounting to 154 million shillings, 633,647. However, the teachers were not mapped into the correct grading structure based on their qualifications. This was contrary to the SRC circular referenced number SRC/TS/24/6 dated 13th January 2021, which requires ECD teachers to be mapped into the correct grading structure based on their qualifications. Further, the appointment letters outlined earnings broken down into basic salary, house allowance, and commute allowance. However, these were not properly mapped into the HRIS system, and the ECD teachers did not automatically progress according to established salary scales. In the circumstance, management was in breach of the SRC guidelines. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the approved job evaluation, grading, and remuneration structure for the early childhood development and education teachers. 13 on my response, page 13 of 37. You're there? Okay. So, Honorable Chair, the approved job evaluation, grading, and remuneration structure for early childhood development and education teachers and caregivers, grade C1 through an SRC circular reference number SRC/TS/JE/CG/3/33/6, volume 30 of 10 December 2021, which is attached as Annex 4.1, has now been adopted by the county government of BOMET, that circular, and dated 2nd February 2024, which is also attached as Annex 4.2. The IBBD system and its successor, HRIS, as set up, does not provide for separate job grading model. This means that the job groups in the system is not equivalent and does not tally with the grading used in the scheme for surveys for ECD assistance. However, to ensure that the staff under this code are paid, the management adopted the use of special salary. The management have since been in touch with the Department of Public Service Management for systems intervention that will ensure the staff in question are paid with proper earnings headings. So I will give to my CC to give further clarification.
I think let's first ask the Auditor General whether that response makes sense. Auditor General?
Chair, the issue has not been addressed.
Governor, when you talk of, let's just put this into context, because you have 1,300 ECD teachers. The teachers would have different qualifications. That's what the auditor is saying here. What would be those? Would there be degree holders, diploma holders, certificate holders? Can you explain it for us?
Correct, Chair. We have different categories. We have certificate holders, we have diploma, and we have degree.
They are supposed to be paid differently based on qualification.
As per the advisory that we receive from SRC.
So, for example, a degree holder who's an ECD teacher is entitled to how much? What gross salary?
140 minimum.
Okay, as per the SRC.
Get a microphone, and for Hansard purposes, reintroduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. I'm the CC in charge of education. I'm Agnes Ngeno, the CC in charge of education, youth, sports, and vocational training. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Concerning the ECD teachers, we have 1,317. We have those who have the certificate. We also have those who have the diploma, and we also have those who are having the degree. As by the circular that you were given, that is dated 2021, December 2021, we were supposed to pay as by the SRC. And we also received another one that we were given in 2023, which was actually giving us that as by the counties to pay, depending on the availability of funds. As the county government of BOMET, we started paying them last year, 2024, whereby we started paying, we have not actually met the relevant or the minimum value that is supposed to be paid, but last year we started paying, whereby we have given the certificate, they are earning 16,364. We have the diploma, they are earning 317.
Sorry?
22,000 diploma, 22,317. We have the degree, they are earning 28,024. That is what they are earning last year. But the incremental month is January, so this year, 2026, the certificate will be earning 19,000. We put them in 3 phases so that by the end of beginning 2027, they will be as per what SRC requires us to pay. So in January 2027, a certificate holder will be earning 22,000, which is the minimum as per the SRC.
So the auditor saying is that you have not mapped them into correct grading structure based on their qualifications, but you have explained that you are paying them differently based on qualifications. So where does that put this audit observation?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. The auditor has actually mentioned that one, but we actually have the annex that you are actually, the circular that you are given. We also have the agreement that is, as we started, by the cabinet and agree. So we have also the schedule that we actually draft into 3 phases, whereby we have phase 1, 3,000, phase 2, we have also another 3,000, then phase 3, we have 4,000.
Was it in the evidence?
Maybe let me assist her.
Yes.
The observation that was made the auditors is actually correct, because when you look at the pay slip of an ECD teachers, it's just a figure aggregated into one. But it's expected that they should have house allowance, probably commuter allowance, and the basic salary. But how this system has been configured, when you pay less than the amount that is meant for that job group, how the system will treat it is just aggregate all of it to be one. But when you see the appointment letters, we have segregated into basic, house allowance, and maybe commuter allowance. So because we are underpaying our ECD teachers, that is why we have this problem.
Now, the evidence that we really wanted is even just, something just to demonstrate that indeed a graduate ECD teacher in BOMET is earning 28,024, and this is the evidence. And a certificate ECD teacher is earning 16,364. Because when we read this audit finding, it gives the impression that whether it's graduate, diploma, or certificate, they're earning the same pay.
Not true, Chair. In fact, that's why I mentioned earlier on that we have made a lot of improvement. Because when we came in 2018, irrespective of your qualification, the pay was the same. Certificate, diploma, degree. So we were earning around 9,000? 9,000 flat.
9,000.
Irrespective of your qualification. But what we have done, as reported by my CEC, is currently we have 16,000 for certificate, 22,000 for diploma, and 28,000 for degree. And we are doing annual increment. We have 15 teachers degree. 15? Degree, yes, 18. So by January 2027, they will be earning over 40,000. And then for diploma, they will be earning a minimum of 28,000. And then for certificate, they will be earning a minimum of 22. So it's only because we have been constrained by resources. Otherwise, they are entitled to this pay because that is the advisory that we have received from SRC.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, Governor, I think there are 2 questions there. There's a question of a grading structure based on qualification. yeah, you know, certificate, diploma, degree. But the other question of the breakdown of the earnings, where whether diploma, certificate, or degree, then there's a requirement that you break it down, basic salary, X amount of money, as allowance, X amount of money, commuter, all that. And I think those are the issues that are being queried. Have I received a proper response on that?
Yes. Yeah, I think I've responded to that. When you see the appointment letters for these teachers, that segregation is there. And even we have gone up to the people who are in charge of the system and requested, because the teachers have been complaining that they need to see their commuter allowance. They need to see their house allowance. So when we went to the people who are in charge of the system, they told us the problem is because you are underpaying your teachers. So once you're given a job group, your name is loaded to the system. It should be able to generate what you are entitled to based on your job group. Because we have not paid the minimum that is required for that job group, that is why we just have a kind of a lump sum value that is paid monthly to our ECD teachers. Otherwise,
that's okay, Governor.
Yeah,
Then,
yes.
then the other question would be the circular by SRC. Does it suggest a minimum, or it leaves it open-ended?
it suggests a minimum. And also, there is also a line where we've been advised, based on availability of resources, you can start where you can
What's
afford.
the minimum? Because this 16,000 sounds like a minimum, the general minimum wage.
The minimum is 22 for certificate.
Certificate.
And then diploma is 28. Diploma is 30. 20,
Diploma is 28.
Diploma is 28, and then degree
Is 34.
34.
You know, Senator Wambua, we are getting something wrong as a society. These are the people who teach the most delicate, the most vulnerable, the most malleable. I look at my little child and I respect the teacher who teaches that boy how to write, how to count, how to speak. But you see, as a society, see how we are treating our ECD teachers. And I know it's not a BOMET problem, it's a societal problem. 28,000 is perhaps below the salaries that some of you pay for your house girls and even for your gardeners. And yet as a society, we have now normalized it, that these people who teach the most special age in humanity, we pay them 16,000. I mean, it's a salute to these people, these 1,300, that they can still report to work every day with this kind of pay. How I wish we could rethink this, and I think we need to have this conversation.
Tell me, just refresh my mind, because did we not develop a scheme of service for ECD teachers?
But you can see that it's still subject to SRC recommendations and subject to availability of funds.
I thought we had ECD building.
We are treating, and this must be a national conversation on how we treat our ECD teachers. The other conversation would be to capitalize the expenditure on ECD teachers. Because I know that's where governors fear, that when they pay more, it increases their wage bill. But surely, of all the functions that are devolved, health, water, roads, for me the most special is early childhood education. Because you get that wrong, those children are lost for the rest of their lives. And that's a sacred duty that has been placed in the hands of governors.
Each year, the consideration for remuneration for ECD teachers I don't think it would be proper for anybody to reduce it to a conversation about the wage bill. Much as we have to be careful about it, but there are other cadres of staff that earn a lot more and push the wage bills for counties. I want to agree with you, Chair. I think there is a need for a conversation, a serious conversation, about what counties need to do for ECD teachers, and actually the entire ECD program. That, you know, I meet governors and people working in county governments who talk about ECD centers, and when you go to visit the things that they call ECD centers, I mean, it's just classrooms. There are no centers at all. We need to begin to focus a lot more on laying a better, stronger foundation for the education of our children.
Chair,
Senator Cherokee?
maybe in fact, I think BOMET is trying, because Nandi is worst in terms of handling ECT teachers. In my own assessment, I think at least we are paying up to 34 for a degree. Nandi is doing a half of this, which is a sorry state. Number two, Governor, just for clarity, these 1,370 ECD teachers, are all of them on the permanent and pensionable? Number one. Number two, how do you handle? I've seen you have milk school feeding program through provision of milk. How do you handle to ensure that there is retention and attendance by the children? And number three, in my county, the county government said that they were building ECD centers. But when the governor is opening those ECD centers, it's just a rule. But from the approval by the Nandi County Assembly, they passed a development of ECD center where you have a pollution block, you have a classroom, you have a teacher's quarters, and you have a sleeping area, especially for the young ones. So describe to us, and finally, Chair, what is your opinion as a governor, sitting also in Council of Governors? Because I saw a circular by the Ministry of Education through the Principal Secretary of Basic Education requiring to abolish separate diploma training for early childhood development education teachers and merge it with diploma in primary teacher education, DPTE. This circular that was issued by Ministry of Education directing that you need to merge the training of teachers, including the ECD, because to us it is trying to undermine and claw back the issue of devolved functions, because the ECD is a domain of the county government's chair. So I think this issue of, in conclusion, Chair, as a parliament, we must still rethink on this aspect on how we can support our ECD teachers, because I agree with you, these are people who teach, apart from even teaching them to write and read, they teach them even the use of toilet, how to mannerism, how to dress. It's not something. They are more than, in fact, in my own opinion,
we have outsourced our children to ECD teachers.
Yeah, we have outsourced technically. Most of us wake up by 5, you just throw your child into the bus until you see them maybe late in the evening. And they are taught how to be disciplined, how to dress, how to use toilets, chair. I think ECD teachers should be even paid more than us who are in senior public offices, chair. I think these are conversations that should not end here. Even when you table our recommendations, chair, please, let's bring to the attention of the Senate so that we can resolve. Our ECD teachers are now left at the mercy of circulars. You can see the Ministry of Education is telling them now, no. Don't train them independently. Can you merge it with teacher training curriculum of primary school teachers? You know, they have just been thrown. You go, your county is paying differently. You come to Nandi is different. You come to Nairobi is different. And the still living standards of Nairobi is totally different from BOMET, from Nandi, from Homa Bay. So, Chair, I agree with you that we must have a conversation as a country on the role of our ICD teachers going into the future. So, if the governor answers on my two questions, I yield back.
Answer, Governor. I don't know whether you have numbers. What's the starting salary for a driver in the county? The starting salary for a driver.
Okay. A new driver is employed at job group D.
Where there's
And I think there's a salary of around 25,000.
25,000.
Yes.
The only qualification he has is a driving license.
Yes.
And this person has a certificate, has gone to school, is taking care of the most vulnerable. We are paying them 16,000. I don't know who should be in terms of hierarchy. I think we are getting it wrong. And it's something that the Senate will have to work with the Council and with the relevant government agencies. We must change this perception. I know the Education Committee is carrying out some inquiry at the moment. I don't know whether these are some of the things that are being addressed there.
Yes, Chair, actually, we met some stakeholders from the ECD sector, in addition to the Council of Governor Chair, I believe Chair of BOMET, Governor of BOMET County, on this particular matter.
The gentleman sitting here.
No, sorry. It's not BOMET, sorry, Kericho.
Kericho?
Yes.
Yeah, because he looks surprised.
Yes, on the matter of merging the qualifications for ECD and the pre-primary. And it is a national concern because in our view, we hold the view that is just clawing back on the mandate of governors, and particularly on the mandate of ECD, on the function of ECD. And it's the view of the committee that ECD is a very critical aspect and should not just be left to be merged with whatever qualifications that the PS thinks about. And we have a follow-up meeting, I believe next week, to deliberate more. In fact, the COG is of the view that if the committee is of the view that the PS should withdraw that circular, failure to which the COG goes to court.
But is the committee also addressing the variations in pay across the counties on ECD teachers?
Yes, we are looking into that.
Yeah, we must level up. We must level up. It's unacceptable.
Council, through the chair, just what happened to that scheme of service? Did we pass it for ECD teachers?
Yes, we did pass the scheme of service, but as the governor has said, many a times it's left at the mercy of availability of funds.
Why should that be the case? I'm just wondering. I mean, if it's a scheme of service that has been passed by Parliament, it's like telling me then we have a scheme of service for teachers under TSC, and the TSC decides we'll pay you depending on availability of funds. I mean,
I know their challenge has been that wage bill, because they say they'll come here and we'll bash them on wage bill. But what is spent on an ECD teacher, what is spent on a doctor or a nurse, should never be caught up in this wage bill conversation, because they are delivering very, very essential service. And I don't know, the accountants are here. In terms of classification of expenditure, we might get to a point where we are saying that expenditure on ECD teachers, expenditure on doctors and nurses should not be used to compute wage bill. So that wage bill becomes the secretariat in the county, rather than because it's not, if you go for capacity building, the input is a capacity builder. So that's like a product. If you go to an ECD center, the input is that instructor. It's not the building. I mean, you can't do anything just with the building and the chairs. The instructor must be there. And so the expenditure, going forward, we must find a way of classifying it as development. That way, we can insist that the minimum as per the grade of service must be observed. And I'd be happy if we progress this conversation, because I am embarrassed. And yet, BOMET is one of the counties doing well. But the numbers are still very embarrassing.
Chair, let me congratulate you first for that voice. If there is one person who has been very vocal about the welfare of these teachers. As much as I've not done as expected of me, it is Barchok. Because as you have described, Chair, ECD teacher is more than a teacher. He's a legal officer, he's a health professional, because it is through ECD that we make assessments and channel the children. If we have special needs, they are channeled to the right school, the proper school where they can get education. So he is a social worker, because sometimes they report to school and the first thing that they tell the teacher in the morning is that they didn't take breakfast or they didn't take supper. And out of the small earnings, the miyaka earnings that the teacher is earning, probably they will purchase kankumu for this child. So I totally agree. In fact, my position has been an ECD teacher should be paid more than a high school teacher, because high school teacher is dealing with adults. But this one is dealing with young children, and these young children depend 100% on this teacher. So I think I totally agree with your sentiments, Chair, that I think we should start a conversation on this issue. Take care of the welfare of this teacher who is giving foundation to our children. And if we have proper treatment, correct treatment, then you can be sure that your child will be in safe hands. So I totally agree, Chair.
So, Chair, why can then we propose that instead of Governor BOMET having that individual personal concern, why can't you escalate that conversation within your colleagues in COG? Then we have a meeting, Chair.
So if you've been drawing this money on a monthly basis to pay casuals, why can't you provide that evidence to the Auditor General? Why can't you attach that evidence to the governor's response? Proceed.
Yeah, Chair. Apologies for not attaching the annexure, but I want to allay the fears of the committee very clearly by giving you a breakdown. Which evidence can be produced in 3 hours if you give us, because it is there.
Are you seeing?
I'm finishing.
Order, Mr. Secretary. Again, for record purposes, just reintroduce yourself for Hansard.
My name is Paul Mutai, Chief Officer Public Service.
Chief Officer Public Service. You are a knowledgeable man. From your earlier submissions, you know the right things that should be done. Is it the first time you're seeing this audit query?
No, not.
So,
and we have
so why are we talking of another 3 hours?
Annexure, to attach the annexure.
So, Chair.
No.
Chair, now I see where the problem is.
This is not a circus.
I think I see where the problem is, Chair. Wait a minute, my brother. You know, did you see the exercise that we began with when we started this exercise? What did you begin by doing? We put the governor under oath, right? The next step, what did he do after that? He tabled documents. That's as far as it goes. You want to take the position of the governor and table other documents?
He asked me to assist in clarifying this.
No. Chair, this committee should not be taken for granted. I mean, surely.
And when we were starting, I made it clear that the audit has already been done, the X-ray has been done, the CT scan has been done. Everything has been done by the Auditor General. Our job is just to prescribe.
Chair,
So,
I think the best proposal.
So let's not force the governor to produce what does not exist.
So in fact, I'm of the idea, Chair, since the governor has taken an oath, and there are other people who are facing this 119, including Department of Finance, Agriculture and Administration, the Chief Officer of, was it Public Service Board, should have taken an oath. You know, when you want to give oral evidence, since they didn't give written, you should take an oath and be ready for the consequences, so that if we find they are misleading the committee, Senator Wambua and the chair, the violation of taking an oath is very serious. It is a contempt towards the committee. So if we have to give a chance to him to go on record to give oral evidence, chair, he must take an oath.
No,
Chair, let me just add to that.
Even if you were to take an oath, that would be, we'll just be admitting new evidence,
Exactly.
which we shouldn't.
Exactly.
But to contextualize this, 10 million is being drawn every month, being given to departmental heads to pay casuals. There is no evidence that the casuals have been paid. Those departmental heads are stealing from the public, and they must be held accountable.
Yeah, may I clarify something? I will agree with OHE that there's no money thrown and given to heads of department. So this statement alone is not entirely right. The heads of departments just approve the list.
Where is your evidence to contradict what the OAG has reported?
They are here. Maybe they'll
No, my friend. I think we have given you too much latitude. Honorable members, this is a crime scene, and we must define it as such, and we must give very, very strong recommendations on this matter.
Chair, so that we just call his bluff, why don't you ask the OAG to tell us the story behind this?
OAG?
Chair, maybe before AG responds, Governor, can you assuade us, now that you are Chief Officer, that these are not ghost workers being paid in BOMET? Can you assuade us from that, so that as the OAG gives the story behind it, you know, Governor had alluded that there were allegations of ghost workers in BOMET. Could it be 119 million that was spent and 10 million, as you have indicated by year, being paid to ghost workers who don't give service to BOMET? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Senators, there is no other persuasion that can be done without evidence. So we'll be engaged in a futile exercise. Auditor General, the entities contradicting your observation, Do you stand with it?
Thank you, Chair. The correction was not made at the point we sent the draft audit report, and so I'll start by it. But then on this particular issue, after the report had been signed, they submitted to us delegated authority from the County Public Service Board to engage the casuals. They submitted advertisements and sample appointment letters, which I now leave, which I had left to the committee to advise, but since
Those ones are not a problem. Did they provide evidence that out of that money, someone received it? There is a casual somewhere who received that money, totaling to the 11 million.
Did they or did they not?
They did, Chair.
Okay, Chair, just hold it there. So if they gave evidence to OAG, why haven't they attached that evidence for us to see it?
Because then what is the role of the Senate?
Chair, I think we actually gave it to the auditors, and that's why I've sent my HR to find how was it not attached.
But Governor, the auditors did not respond on your behalf. You responded, right?
Yes.
So in your response, then why did you attach your evidence and argue before us that even these documents that I've given you, I supplied those documents to OAG. We don't understand why they did not make reference to those documents.
Maybe. Okay.
Why did you attach the evidence?
Honorable members, let me just give guidance. No evidence before the Senate, we cannot change our minds about this particular matter. And OAG, if you say that you saw that evidence, I think you also need to be a bit careful not to reverse your, because you are almost backtracking on this matter.
Would it be acceptable if I get a soft copy of the same right away?
No, but you have had the opportunity to do that. This cannot be the point at which you are doing audit and bringing in documents. OAG, what's your position? Because you seem to be wavering.
Chair, maybe before AG speaks, Chair, you know, Meshach is always clear. I don't know why Dway is not very clear. But, Chair, I thought there is a track. Yesterday we were told when documents are taken to OAG, there is a track sheet on what you receive from the client. So we are asking a simple question. Even as this matter remains outstanding on the casuals, in your track sheet, did you receive this evidence that was attached? That's why it is being escalated up to this level. Through the chair, in addition to what the chair has asked you, can you add my clarity?
Okay, OAG, give us clarity, then we move on to the next issue.
Chair, I'm told the document they submitted to us was bulky and it was not, we didn't carry it here. And as I had said earlier, Chair, most of the verifications were done from our office. We are yet to go to the ground because the 1 week was short notice for them.
So we, in the absence of evidence tendered before the Senate, we consider this matter to be outstanding. Yeah. We consider it to be a criminal act that requires the necessary and very strong criminal sanctions. If at the time we are writing our report, OAG, you are able to demonstrate that this money was accounted for, then we might vary our recommendation. If there will be no evidence at that point from your analysis, then we shall flag this as a matter that EACC needs to follow up. Let's therefore proceed to the next issue. We were supposed to be done by 2 o'clock. I can see we are far past 2 o'clock, but we have dealt with the financial mismanagement issues and the human resource mismanagement issues. Those are your biggest problems as a county. Now, we are left with a few issues that some of them are project related and some of them we can be able to consider the written responses. But if the responses will be like the one that we have just seen, then we'll be referring a lot of issues to the EACC. If your responses will just be a narration without evidence attached, do not be surprised to find that we have referred many, many issues to Kinoti for further investigation. Let's exit the HR issues and come to sample a few projects. Honorable members, earlier in the morning, we looked at some of the projects. If we go to routine maintenance of roads, I think the auditor had reported that those roads have been completed now. There was an issue of poor implementation of school milk program. Auditor General, was this a lawfulness or value for money question? Or was there a loss of funds, outright loss of funds? Poor implementation of school milk program.
There was no loss of funds, Chair.
So what was out of order for you to report it?
Chair, on the poor implementation of school milk program, a review of contract records revealed that management awarded the new KCC Limited a tender for supply of 1,221,956 packets of 200 millimeters Paco school milk to all ECD centers in the county at a contract sum of 35 million for 6 months, commencing on 11th December 2024. However, only 581,343 packets of milk, all totaling 17.8 million, which is equivalent 48% of the expected packets, were supplied. Physical verification and interviews conducted revealed that the beneficiary centers stopped receiving milk in February 2025. So in the circumstance, value for money may not have been realized by the public in respect of the incomplete and unutilized projects.
And OG, when you look at the written response, does it address the matter, or is it something that requires you to go back and verify?
Number 18, wait.
Well, what's your take on the response? Do they need to clarify, or we can proceed with that?
Chair, management provided schedules for the supplies and signed acknowledgement forms that indicated supplies for the school milk by the new KCC. This what was supplied to us, but it is the committee to advise on that matter.
I think we keep this in view because it's still a running program, or it was terminated.
It's running.
Yeah, let's keep this in view. It looks like a good initiative, but I hope it is not marred by irregularities in procurement and distribution.
Chairman, maybe the big issue for us will be where schedules are provided after. Ordinarily, you request for information during the period of audit when you're in the field, so that you also undertake additional tests, not just looking at the schedules, but then you also want to look at other information related to what has been provided.
Correct.
So that's what now the auditor is querying.
Yep.
And if the schedule came later, you have no opportunity to do additional tests. Thank you, Chair.
Fine. So we keep that in view. We move to the construction of governor's official residence. Now, Governor, our concern when we reviewed this matter earlier is that I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of residence you have as a person, but if I gave you 35 million to put up a house, do you think you can? It's enough to put up something decent when you're building your own house. 35 million.
That's a palatial home. What do you mean decent?
No, maybe the governor sees things differently. With 35 million, I mean, if someone gave you 35 million, the land is already bought. Go put up a nice 4-bedroom house. Is it possible with 35 million?
It is possible, yeah.
It is possible?
Yes.
To do 35 million vis-a-vis 4-bedroom?
Yes.
But that is, which kind of a house is that?
No, you might be having low standards. So let's deal with the professor whose standards could be higher. So with 35 million, I mean, just randomly across, Kinoti, yes, with 35 million, you think that is enough to build a nice, comfortable nest for you and your family? The land has already been provided.
I think so, Chair. I think so.
You think so? Or you need to add a little more?
No.
Chief, where is that chief officer who was eager to give us evidence? Where is he? Yes. If I gave you 35 million shillings to build a residential house,
Yes.
do you think it's enough?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
More? why are you not certain all of a sudden? You were very confident before.
It depends, but for, you know, a governor is of a different status. So many guests, visitors. And
No, but the guests don't sleep there. They just come and eat and leave.
yeah.
The reason I asked this question is you have paid 35 million for a governor's residence, and it's only 45%. What are you building?
You know, Chair, you talked about low and high standards. I would benefit from just brief description of what are you building? What is this that you're building?
Chair,
You know, Chair, before Chalagay says, you know, Chair, don't forget that we were confronted here by another case from a county that I may not divulge, where up to around 120 million Kenya shillings had been paid for a governor's residence, and we are still at the foundation level, you know. So, I mean, what are we building?
What are we building?
In addition,
Senator Chirake.
Chair, in fact, Governor, you are paid 35 million for 45% of the works. You engage another contractor, and you had paid 20.6 million. That comes to 55.6 million. And the completion date should have been 17 December 2025. So, Governor, this 55 million that is already paid, what is the scope of works of the governor's residence? Considering, Chair, yesterday or the day before Kwale, we had been confronted for Kwale governor's residence. They were doing it at 210 million Kenya shillings, Governor. You and me are aware of the circular by SRC that the governor's residence should be 45 million, the deputy governor should be 35 million, and the speaker of a county assembly should be 35 million. So this one, if I had, this is, you gave the second contract of 41 million, and you have paid 20 million in addition to 35 million, that's 55.6, that is 56 million already paid. Tell us, this house, have you occupied now? Because in your contract you are saying it's 17 December 2025. And what is the scope of works as Senator Wambua says, so that we can get that? And finally, Chair, what is the justification, Governor, that you have gone beyond the SRC circulation of 45 million for our governor's residence? I yield back, Chair.
Governor?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe starting with the last question from Mheshimiwa Senator Cherargei. We went beyond 45 million that was recommended by SRC, because by the time this communication came, the contract had already been awarded. So it was very difficult to vary from that. And then, Chair, I agree that 5 million is a lot of money, and depending on what you want to construct. And there are also other factors. I think the engineer in charge of public works will be able to explain that construction in Nairobi, construction in our rural areas and different soils can also account for part of differences in terms of the amount that we invest for construction. But that said, Chair, We have not occupied this house. It's now, I think, around 80% done with a new contractor. And I've seen also in our annexures, we have not documented very well, but I have the copies of how the first contractor was terminated and the quantities of work that was still pending by the time we terminated that contractor. So I'll request my engineer public works, Engineer Ngeno, to explain this.
No, it might not be necessary. 78 million. Is there any factory you've built in BOMET since you got into office?
Yes, we have.
For example, which one?
Avocado factory, that's almost done.
How much
plus the equipment is 180 million.
180 million.
Yes.
78 million that you have budgeted for this can pay your 1,300 ECD teachers 60,000 each in a year. You know, we started the conversation on how we treat ECD, and we are so passionate about it. But this is where the money is. Instead of allocating money to the useful things, we are allocating that money to monuments and opulence and displays of prestige. And I think, members, we must take a global view on governors' residences. Yesterday, a governor said that they have spent 210 million on the residents, and they still need 50 million more to activate a wing. That cannot be the reason why devolution was brought, for governors to have palaces. And indeed, before you become a governor, Senator Wambua, I have visited your home. I don't know why you would want to go and build a monument at 100 million. A house where, after 10 years, you will vacate. So we had earlier on said that we are going to do a special report to the Senate. And we are going to call the counties that have gone beyond the ceiling, the 45 million. And we are going to engage public works. We are going to engage everybody, including ESCC, on this particular matter.
Yeah, allow me to just get a very straight answer from the governor. To your credit, Governor, you sounded very passionate about the warfare of ECD teachers, as you should. In your own considered opinion, is this a priority project? Is it a priority for the people of BOMET?
Chair. Okay.
To be honest, I think with the advent of devolution, I think there was a lot of excitement. And the counties that were supported directly by the national government, for example, to put up offices. And then, you know, in 2013, probably in our mind, when we talked of 47 county governments, and then, of course, one nation. Probably because of that euphoria, we felt like, you know, as governors, we should do this, so that we can be felt that we are also aiding governors. But actually, to respond to Wambua, this should not have been a priority, because there are other needs. We have hospitals, dispensaries that have not been constructed. And by the way, even if it was to be completed, probably I will not even reside there because I'm living next to BOMET. So, in fact, traveling all the way to Tarakwa will be very far from BOMET. It will be comfortable commuting from my own house. So, there are things that are not priority, and that is why we have this discussion. Personally, my opinion is no, it should not have been a priority.
I put it to you and to other governors that perhaps maybe this is just maybe a special purpose vehicle for other things, not necessarily just constructing governors' residences. Because surely you go to counties that are even unable to feed their own people, and they are budgeting for millions of shillings to construct residences. And those residences never get constructed. So it must be a vehicle for other things.
Chair, maybe in addition, maybe Chair, what I can propose is that since this issue of residences, both county governors, deputy county governors, speakers, and the county headquarters, and even county assembly chambers, Chair, we need to do a special inquiry into it. That is the county assembly chambers, the county headquarters, the deputy governor's residence and governors, including speaker's residence. But now the question is, we know SRC issued a circular that governors should be paid 300,000 house allowance. So even if we don't construct these county residents, they will continue drawing from the circular from the SRC of 300,000, which again doesn't make sense. I thought the wisdom of us and governor, we are not saying county headquarters or county residents are not, we know their role within the devolution. But I thought maybe the framers of the residents were thinking that by the time a resident is complete, there is no need to pay house allowance of 300,000 to governors. Unless, Governor, you are telling us today, from today henceforth, you will convince your colleague in Council of Governors to stop taking 300,000 as per the circular of SRC for house allowance. Then we can see the money will have the value.
Governor, are you drawing 300,000?
No, I wanted to correct that because we also got communication, I think, from SRC that all the governor's residents should have been completed by, I don't have the specific, 2022, there's a month in 2022, and all the house allowances stopped.
So it's not being paid?
I'm not getting any house allowance for the same.
But Tima, you were saying, I don't know whether Kinoti or COB, maybe is the National Treasury here?
No,
or COB?
They could be in the other meeting.
COB, maybe clarity. Is that circular with us?
We are getting
because the last time I checked,
what we need to establish is whether the same situation is operating across counties, whether there are governors who are not drawing that allowance.
That allowance of 300,000.
So that's why we said we'll do a special inquiry on this, so that we contextualize and summon all those counties that are above the 45 million threshold.
And perhaps, Chair, also, in the meantime, COB, the requisitions for salaries, because it also goes to them on a monthly basis.
I needed the COB to say something. Do you have a view? You can say something on this 300,000 allowance to governors? Because you are the one who processes those requisitions to your office. Can you say something? With your indulgence, Chair, I know we are pressed for time. Kindly.
Thank you, Chair. You're talking about the 300,000 with the house allowance.
Yeah.
Now, I want to refer to the through the Chair. I want to refer to the conversation from the clerk about the issue of the lapsed circular. Now, I actually went back to check about the issue of the lapse, and it was actually the deadline that the governors were given to have constructed their residence is what has lapsed. Now, after June 2022 is when now the payment of those allowance becomes illegal. They should not draw those allowances as house allowance.
Are they requisitioning?
No, they don't requisition. They don't requisition.
Fine, so
yeah,
we'll establish that in the special inquiry. Let's proceed to BOMET Stadium. I always am amazed when I hear the senator of BOMET complain that BOMET Stadium is incomplete, and yet Homa Bay Stadium is complete.
But Raila Odinga Stadium is complete in Homa Bay.
Yes, and yet Raila Odinga Stadium is complete. I am always amazed to hear the senator of Kericho complain about the stadium in Kericho, the senator of Bungoma, the senator of Nandi, the senator of Kwale is complete, the senator of Kakamega. I mean, there's all these politics around stadia. And I've thought that if there was to be a political beneficiary, it would have been BOMET. Do you have a stadium in BOMET, Governor?
Thank you, Chair. And the observation by the auditors is actually correct. We have a stadium that is incomplete, and there are a number of challenges that faced the county government of BOMET, and that is why we didn't complete this structure. One, we are having fights with the BOMET University over land, where the land where this stadium is constructed, 75% of it is falling on their side. So it's actually their land. So, and there was a court case relating to the same. And when it was ruled in favor of BOMET University College then. So, Chair, a lot of money has been invested in that facility, and it is incomplete. But this is public money. BOMET University also is a public entity. And we have had discussions with the administration of BOMET University, and we've agreed that we surrender that facility to BOMET University, and then they will find a way of completing that stadium. For us, as county government of BOMET, we have moved out of BOMET town. We have already purchased 20 acres of land, and I'm informed that tender has been issued by the national government to construct stadium in BOMET. So those are the challenges that we faced. At some point, a section of this stadium...
You have been informed that a tender has been awarded?
It was advertised, yes, and awarded to some company, yes.
Have you transferred that function to the national government? Is it a transfer? Have you transferred your responsibility to the national government?
Of course, we are working closely, Chair, and there's a provision in the Constitution that we can work with the national government.
And subject to Article 187, it
yes.
requires an intergovernmental agreement.
Yes.
Is there any?
We have not signed any
but
at the moment.
Tendering is going on.
It has been done.
I mean, we had a similar situation with Nyandarua yesterday. There's nothing wrong with the national government offering to help, but you must go by the Constitution, what Article 187 requires, an intergovernmental agreement. The 20 acres of land, that is your land.
It's our land.
So when the national government pumps in money for the stadium, who's going to own the asset?
It's the county government of BOMET. But when it comes to financing, an impression is created like it is the national government that is owning it.
Yes, so you need to have an agreement between you and the national government. Where is the county attorney? Because yesterday someone was arguing that that is not a transfer of a function, that's a transfer of a service. What is your professional opinion on that matter of the stadium? Yeah, just reintroduce yourself for record purposes.
Okay, Chair, my name is Langat John. I'm the county attorney. So the issue of stadium, we have the Directorate of the Stadium Management Board, which is tasked with the development of stadium. So the land is allocated by the county government through an intergovernmental participation agreement. So what is to happen is that we shall enter into the agreement under the Article 187 because it's a shared function.
When will you do the IPA? Because that's the right thing to do. Shouldn't the IPA precede the procurement?
Yes.
Has your opinion been sought on this matter as a professional?
Not yet. I remember there was a delegation led by the then Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Abapu Namwamba, and the Director in charge of Sports, Stadium Management Board, who came to the county and they made a report. That is what they decided, that it would be possible to put up a new stadium elsewhere other than the one.
And Council, there's nothing wrong with that. All that is all okay. It's all okay.
Yes.
But you're going to end up with a mongrel whose ownership no one is sure of.
Chair.
Senator Ombua.
County Attorney.
Yes.
So did you see that tender that was floated?
Not yet.
So who advertised the tender?
So if you do not see it, but you are aware that the national government is undertaking that project. You're not aware?
I just heard that there was an intention by the national
Where are
government.
you hearing these things from, County Attorney?
Actually,
where are you hearing these things from?
even the governor said he had.
Yes, it was in
The governor had something, you had something. Where are you hearing these things from?
Recently, when there was the award of the charter to the BOMET University.
Where I'm driving at is,
yes,
is it your responsibility to advise the county government of BOMET on the legality of any project that they undertake?
Yes.
Have you rendered any legal advice on that matter?
Not yet.
So when are you going to do it? I mean, you're saying you have heard that the tender was floated. You heard, right? After hearing, did you also communicate the rumor to the governor that I've heard something? What is this?
Through the chair, you cannot act on a rumor. We've just heard that there is an intention to develop to put up a stadium from scratch by the national government.
So you want us to treat this just as rumor, so we leave it, right? It's just rumor. It's nothing. Nothing is happening.
No, I think what shall be done is to engage the line department.
And just as I'm asking now, then when you heard this rumor and maybe you have realized things are moving, did you write to the governor and tell the governor, you know what, this one, I smell a rat? That's your work, right?
In fact, we have not seen the advert.
Chair, maybe to assist my county attorney, when I got the report, I actually called the CS on the same. But what he communicated to me is that he will invite me, we'll have a discussion, as much as they have identified the contractor. But I think what the chair is proposing and what Senator Wambua is saying, like what we have done in education, we have done also in health, where we signed those IPS, I think this should be the way. Because if you are not careful,
stop it there, Governor. So you have had these things, you have been told you'll be called, you've been told a tender has been floated. So what happens if then there is a disagreement in that meeting that you will be called later? If you disagree with the national government on this project, when they have already given a tender, what will happen?
I want to believe that there are also clauses for sorting out that, yeah. But I agree with the sentiments that if we are not careful as governors, then we'll end up handing over everything to the national government, and that's what we should guide. In fact, relating to what Senator Cherargei had mentioned about ECD teachers, this termination of diplomas without engagement of the stakeholders, and yet this is a special kind of training. We cannot train an ECD teacher like you are training a primary school teacher. So those are some of the things and conversation. I know we are still young as a country, and probably part of this discussion will assist us to improve, and we need also to take our position as governors supported by senators.
So Governor, maybe do you have an affordable housing project in BOMET?
We do, Chair.
Who owns the land?
I own the land.
Who owns the asset?
As the governor or as
It's a national government.
So in whose balance sheet does that asset appear?
Of course, the national government.
But you own the land?
Yes, and that's why we're having this discussion, Chair.
I hope when you guys retreat as Council of Governors, these are the things you discuss. You are not discussing this committee. You are discussing these issues. Because we are not criticizing the generosity of the presidency and the national government, but you're saying you must do things properly. There's nothing wrong in them building a stadium in BOMET. But if someone comes and builds something on your land, the law violated, it's called trespass, isn't it?
Yes.
So you are allowing yourself to be trespassed, you are allowing yourself to be violated, but that can be cured through the IPA. I think the county attorney knows what needs to be done. And I think what we need to see is proactivity by writing, even to the ministry, that yes, we welcome your decision or you welcome your generosity. However, as per guidance from the Senate, or as per Article 187, we need to set in place an IPA. And it's not a very complicated thing. You've seen for bursaries. It's not a very complicated thing, but have that so that there's clarity. Because at the end of the day, Auditor General, when auditing that stadium, who is the accounting officer? Is it the ministry or is it the accounting officer in the county. When auditing affordable housing, who's the accounting officer? Is it the minister, PS Inga, or it is the accounting officer in the county?
Yeah, for the stadium, it is at the county level.
But the procurement has been done by the national
The
government.
payment is paid by PS Defense.
It has come from the budget of the national government.
Yes, Chairman, that is a big question. And even for us, it's a bigger problem will be when you got now to accounting for these assets. Chair, remember that in the next 1 or 2 years, entities are supposed to recognize these assets on the face of the financial statements. Okay, so when you go to audit accounting, who is the owner of this asset? Is it the county? Is it the national government?
It will be like Migingo Island.
Yes, it's
where the water belongs to Kenya.
Yes.
And the land belongs to, they claim it belongs to Uganda.
So, Chair, I agree with you. This confusion needs to be sorted immediately.
Chair, maybe benefit from the legal counsel. The legal counsel maybe can benefit from this. Huh? Can the national government invoke the provisions of Article 40 of the Constitution on acquisition of land for public utility from a county government, or that only applies to private land, Article 40? Because then if the national government is saying, then we are taking this land and developing, can they just go in and just take land and say this is for public use?
That's trespass.
They can't.
They cannot.
So
the case of Kenyatta University has demonstrated that I think this constitution, our country is, we have made advances in protection of, or in enforcement of property rights compared to our neighbors. I think in Ethiopia, in Tanzania, the state almost has unfettered access to land. But ours is a classical property right jurisdiction. You know, the title deed, because it looks like the only thing we have in this country is land. And so it has been protected. So the national government cannot go and forcefully take over land of the county government, of a university, of a school. It can't. Without following
the governors are willing for their land to be taken over by the national government.
They are the ones addressing
it.
Chair, maybe on this BOMET stadium, Governor, is this the famous BOMET Green Stadium? And number 2, or that's a different one? So this one, BOMET Stadium, how many acres? Because I saw when the BOMET University was receiving a charter, so they went to court, they proved that they own the land. So you see that the land, and now you have bought 20 acres. That 20 acres is where the national government, is it through DOD or sports, will come and build the stadium. Number 2, Chair, I think on this issue of counties and national government, there should be a clarity. And I think I agree with you that COG should sit as a COG and make a decision. Because when affordable housing programs are happening, when the stadium has been constructed, when the markets are being constructed, where is in the balance sheet of assets, where will those assets appear? Because, for example, the markets that are being done is done under PS housing. So do you audit the governor or you audit PS housing? When the stadium is being done, do you audit the PS defense or you audit the county? And then when all these, even hospitals, which is okay, the national government can come in and assist. We are not saying as a committee, we are opposed to national government coming and supporting counties. But what we are requesting through you and your colleagues in COG is to sit and agree that when national government comes to supplement, there must be a well-structured legal engagement between national, so that when the national government finishes BOMET Stadium, they hand over to you something that is within the legal framework, because you never know who comes after. And we had a long discussion yesterday. So, Governor, I want to appeal to you and Council of Governors, sit and agree on these issues where national government are coming to do devolved functions as a support, but there is no clarity in terms of legal framework going into the future, Chair. So, as I yield, just discuss this. These are more important issues than discussing Public Accounts Committee or the Senate or any other irrelevancies. I yield back.
You recall Kwale built a market on land belonging to Kenya School of Government in Matuga. And then when they completed building it, KSG said, no, this is our land. So they closed it. And yet public resources had already been put in there. So it sounds far-fetched, but it might come a time when you have a government that is anti-devolution that will come back to claim the assets. They'll come back to claim their assets. And that's why these IPAs, county attorneys, I think you also have your forum. I think there's a time I attended one of your forum. These are the things that should preoccupy your minds, how to protect county assets.
Yes, Chair, I agree with you that the Attorney General should also advise, because he's supposed to advise the national government on legal matters. So on the issue of, like the example of the stadium, the national government should not apply resources to land which does not belong to the national government before handing over is done in a proper or structured manner.
Do you have a market? Do you also have these, they're called ESP markets?
Yes,
We do.
Who owns the land?
Is the county government.
Who's financing the construction?
The national government.
Who identified the contractor?
It's also the national government.
So it means that when auditing, the auditors will be querying the national government, isn't it?
It's true.
Are you going to include that market as part of your balance sheet?
No.
What about the land?
What about the land?
The land belongs to the county government. And I agree, Chair, I agree, because I think even the national government has been very hard on us. When it comes to their land, they are very mean. We had cases where we have quarreled over land that belongs to the national government. But when it comes to ours, I think we are too generous.
Like right now, BOMET University has kicked you out, isn't it?
True.
Yeah. So why should you be soft? You have just been kicked out by BOMET University. But you are opening the doors for others to take your land. There is nothing wrong in terms of that cooperation, but please have IPS. Yeah, I think that's a message that we have to give. Now, members, it's almost 3 o'clock. Because this is not the audit has already been done. This session is supposed to give the governor an opportunity to clarify anything that might not have been clear in the report. And so far, I think we have dealt with the critical things that we feel pose a fiduciary risk to BOMET County: financial management or mismanagement, human resource management or mismanagement, the issue of pending bills, and the issue of we've touched on a few of the projects. I think there are a number of projects there where we probably just look at the written responses, and we hope that they are done properly so that we can be able to make a fair conclusion. But the issue of ECD teachers, I think that's a matter that should not die. It's a matter that we should carry forward. So in the remaining 3 minutes, we will make our comments on the receiver of revenue statement. We are not going to go issue by issue because we have the written responses. But Governor, we are very disappointed as a committee with your OSR performance. The auditors tell us that your systems are still not working. Where is the receiver of revenue? Who is the receiver of revenue?
Thank you, Chair.
You are the receiver of revenue?
Yes, I'm the receiver of revenue. My name is Thomas Korir.
Where? Yes, just reintroduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. My name is Thomas Korir. I'm the receiver of revenue, BOMET County.
So, Thomas Korir, could you tell us what makes up your cess revenue?
Thank you, Chair. Our own source revenue is structured.
No, cess. Cess specifically.
Yes, we have the market produce cess. revenue. We also have the parking fee.
Parking?
Yes.
I'm talking about cess. C-E-S-S, cess.
The cess revenue, you have the market produce cess.
This rope that you tie on the road, because I drive through BOMET to my village, this rope that you tie on the road, whatever you collect there, yes. What is it reported as?
The one we collect on the road is we have the distributors fee for on-source revenue. We actually, out of that, we check a number of streams. We have the one for distributors.
Chair, point of order, Bwana receiver of revenue, Bwana Thomas, do you understand what he says? So that we move fast. You know, today is on a Friday. Na sherehe karibu inaanza. What do you mean?
Yeah.
It is
so
what
please,
he says.
Just be direct.
Yes.
So that rope, there's usually some roadblock or BOMET county government. Do they collect money there, or they just check for compliance in those roadblocks?
They do both, Chair.
So whatever they collect in those roadblocks,
yes.
How is it classified?
It is called cess.
It is called cess?
Yes.
So it will be called, what kind of cess? Would it be livestock, quarrying, or farm produce? Because that's how you've broken down your cess in your statement.
And that's why, thank you, Chair, that's why I said it comprises, we have the one for livestock, we have the produce, we also have the, basically, I don't know why, in that activity we do, we also have the one for, we check the vehicles, whether they have the permit for distribution.
Fine. Okay, I think let's leave it there. Why did your revenue from cess drop by 1 million?
Thank you, Chair. I think there are quite a number of areas which we had not strengthened. I want to say that in my 2 months stay, we have initiated necessary measures to ensure that we seal the leakages and enhance the on-source revenue.
So you are admitting that it was a result of leakages?
It was a result of leakages, and again...
leakages means money collected but not reported?
Yeah, but not through the system, yes.
So
yes,
you agree that there were some criminal things that were going on?
They were there, Chair.
And you see, the sad thing is that this is money you're picking from people. You know, sometimes you feel like it's easier to steal money that has come from Nairobi. But this is money that is coming from local livestock farmers, quarry operators, farm producers, pesa ya mashinani.
True, Chair.
So you agree, we can confidently make a conclusion that there was theft of public funds, because you had 4.7 million in 2023-24 and 3.8 million in the subsequent year. That's a drop of $1 million. Governor, are you concerned about that?
I am, Chair, and there are a number of factors, one of which is what you had already mentioned in our previous discussion. Like Chebunya market was closed, and then national government took over for construction of a market. So where we used to collect around 120,000 every market day. So that's a significant amount of money to lose. And yeah, there are also leakages, and I want to admit, Chair, that there are people that are now going through disciplinary measures, around 4 or 5 officers.
Yes, there are 5 officers.
5 officers.
Disciplinary or criminal investigations? Because this is criminal.
Yeah, they are going through, Chair, what we call fraud investigation kind of approach.
If you go down to your report, receiver of revenue, parking fees from 9.4 million to 5.8 million. A 4 million, almost 4 million shillings drop in parking fees. How do we explain that?
Thank you, Chair. As I said, we have strengthened, we are strengthening the controls.
Yes, that is what you are doing. But yes, how do you explain a drop in parking fees of almost 4 million Kenya shillings?
Chair, I want to agree that it is not something.
I've paid parking in BOMET. Sometimes I eat at a hotel called Twigs. And sometimes I have to pay parking.
Not like that.
So with the money I pay is being stolen. You are stealing from the chair of the Public Accounts Committee.
Thank you, Chair. I think basically, Chair, I want to just make a small correction. It's not all of it is stolen, but there is laxity in some areas. And
it is not laxity. If you collected 9 million last year, you cannot collect 5 million the following year and call it laxity in collection. There is aggressive collection, but laxity in returns. Governor, does this worry you?
It worries me, but Chair, I'll give you an example of BOMET passback, where on average, up to around 3 months ago, 2 months actually, we are collecting on average between 3,000 to 8,000. But with the measures that have been put in place, we are now collecting on average 45,000 per day. So the question is, where was this money going to? And that is what the chair.
45,000 per day should yield you 16 million. And yet you're reporting 5 million. So that tells you how much money gets lost.
It's true, Chair.
And again, what have you done about it?
That's why I've mentioned that we have 5 employees that are now undergoing disciplinary measures.
Shouldn't this be the patience of Mr. Kinoti of ESCC?
I agree, Chair.
Okay, you have made our life easy. So, Senator Chirake?
Chair, you know, I come from almost similar region. While in this sense, I expected your Director of Revenue or Receiver of Revenue to say something about TSES, Governor, because we come from the same revenue and most of our revenue also emanates from T. I know there is challenges with T sector. I have noted that there is KTDA circular that in Region 5, BOMET and Kericho of 23 shillings per kilo on the issue of tea, which is undergoing a lot of challenges. But that notwithstanding the fact, where is in your receiver through the chair, do you get TSES? I should have expected something to do with tea.
Yeah, by the way, where can we see your TSES in this report?
Thank you, Chair. We have Empomo's tea farm, and basically we operate that. But for the tea sales, we normally we charge the factories, the KTDA factories. There is a fee for that, for the factories.
How much is it specifically from tea?
It depends on factory or individual case basis. But we go by the act. It's actually indicated.
Yeah. So for the year under review, how much came from that particular source? Because you've got an entry here called farm produces. It's 3 million. Of that 3 million, how much was tea?
Now, Chair, maybe just a clarification. Because of the challenges that the tea farmers were facing, we exempted. Like our neighbors who are charging TSES, we are not charging as BOMET, but we charge the factories. But for the farmers, we are not.
Yes. How much is that was charged to the factory?
I think maybe, Chair, just to secure clarification, we might not be clear on the figures, but
that's why you are the receiver of revenue. That's why you are. And I think when we get to the ROR report as a matter of procedure, I think the ROR should take an oath.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Yeah.
Going forward, because it is a report of the receiver of revenue.
Yeah.
I think it's something we need to do. Because the receiver of revenue is not a small person in a county.
No.
Yes.
He's the head of KRA.
In fact, that has done it into authority and boards.
Yes, yes. So Mr. Who?
Korir.
Mr. Korir.
Mr. Korir, you are not a small man. So the next time you come here, you'll take the oath so that you can own this report. And when you say that some people are stealing, it's something that we are saying under oath, and we take it to be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Just small matter on this. I know the number of factories.
No, BOMET is my neighbor, so you cannot disconnect me from BOMET.
But you only take tea.
Okay, how much of these 3 million came from factories?
Thank you, Chair. I was saying on the specifics, I want to agree with the governor that I think what was critical with our own source revenue is that there are quite a number of areas through the support of the governor which we've addressed. And I want to say that for a start, this financial year 2025-2026, we have a target of 607,500,000 million. So I want to say with the measures we've put in place, we are addressing a number of these, and I think with your permission, Chair, when we come to the next meeting, when we'll be discussing this financial year 2025-26, we will see a big difference.
No, receiver, I'm disappointed because many of the times I've sat in this chair and BOMET has appeared before us, we have spent a lot of time on revenue. We have spent a lot of time trying to establish a connection between automation and increased collection. In fact, in the past, you have even produced detailed data to show how your revenue streams have been growing before automation and after automation. But what we have here indicates that we are not growing. The growth of 129 million from 238 to 367 is as a result of hospital fees. That growth is because of the 134 million growth in hospital fees. So you're not growing revenue from production.